David Benavidez is unleashing terrifying power and lightning-fast speed in his training camp, sending a clear message ahead of his highly anticipated showdown with David Morrell. However, Robert Garcia spoke about the upcoming fight between David Benavidez and David Morrell, calling it a must-watch showdown. He emphasized that these are the kinds of matchups fans want to see. Garcia highlighted that while Benavidez and Morrell are both moving up in weight to chase bigger opportunities, this fight is what boxing needs. He mentioned that while there aren't many big names for fighters at lighter divisions, like 115 and 118 pounds, this clash between two powerful fighters at a higher weight is exactly what the sport needs.
Benavidez, Morrell. How does that fight go?
It's gonna be sick. See, those are the fights that need to happen, man. Those are the fights that the world wants to see. You know, I was talking about Bam, but there's no big names for Bam at 115. 118, maybe a couple. 122, maybe one day, 3 years from now. But Benavidez, you know, and Morrell, they both move up to a division where they're chasing the big fights, and now they're fighting each other. That's just fucking badass, man. That's gonna be a sick-ass fight. Can't wait for that one.
Garcia also shared his thoughts on how the fight could play out, admitting it's tough to pick a winner. Both fighters have incredible power and aggression, which makes the matchup thrilling. While Garcia respects Morrell's skills, he ultimately favors Benavidez, calling him the likely winner of the fight. Regardless of the outcome, Garcia is excited about the matchup, saying it will be a fantastic fight that proves to the boxing world that the biggest fights should happen.
Both they're gonna put up a badass fight, man. I don't know, man. It's a hard pick, but I'm going with Benavidez, definitely.
Mexico.
Definitely have to go with Benavidez, but it'll be a badass fight.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're doing it. See, they're showing everybody else, you know, that the fights could, you know, they need to happen. We need to see them.
Jose Benavidez Jr. expressed his disappointment over the heated confrontation between David Benavidez and David Morrell at the press conference in Miami, particularly criticizing Morrell for throwing the belt. He felt it was a disrespectful move, questioning why Morrell didn't handle the situation differently if he was truly upset. Benavidez Jr. suggested that Morrell's actions didn't align with the tough persona he projects, calling it a sign of poor character. He was surprised by the response, emphasizing that such actions reflect badly on Morrell, especially during the build-up to a big fight.
There's been a lot of bad blood with this build-up because of what's happened at the press conferences. Like, you as a bystander, what'd you make of what happened in Miami?
I wasn't there though, that's the thing.
Like Morrell threw the belt at him, David ducked.
I don't know why the belt. That's something you don't do. What if there would have been, you know, someone said he was a kid or something? You don't do that. And that's how you know he's not how he says he is. He walks around like he's from the fucking hood, like he's gangster. He's like, none of that. Why are you gonna throw a belt? Why not pass the belt down to the side and go handle it? If you're really mad, if you're really about that, you know. I mean, it is what it is.
Did that type of response surprise you, from him?
Just made me seem like he's a.
Paulie Malignaggi argued that while Canelo Alvarez controls the money in boxing, the best fight in the weight class is between David Benavidez and David Morrell. He believes both fighters are capable of beating Canelo, highlighting the mismatch between financial dominance and the actual top talent in the sport. Malignaggi criticized the boxing world, saying it's backwards that the most lucrative fights don't necessarily involve the best matchups.
But the biggest problem is this. All the money is in Canelo Alvarez, but the best fight is probably Benavidez versus Morrell. You know what I mean? Like, the best fight in terms of the top, who are actually the top two guys in this weight class are probably Benavidez and Morrell. I think they both beat Canelo. You know, so it's funny because all the money's with Canelo, so everything revolves around Canelo. And this is why this sport is backward.
Leonard LRB expressed that he expects the upcoming fight between David Benavidez and David Morrell to be a thrilling 50-50 battle. He believes it will be an intense matchup with both fighters likely hitting the canvas at some point, possibly early in the fight, and both likely to experience moments of injury or danger. LRB emphasized the back-and-forth nature of the fight, as both fighters are hungry for victory and eager to make a statement. With plenty of trash talk in the build-up, he feels this fight will be one where the fans come out as the real winners.
I anticipated this to be a very, very, very 50-50 kind of fight. I expected somebody's going to hit the canvas, and it probably might be early, and The other person might get hurt in the fight. It's going to be a lot of ups and downs, ebbs and flows in this particular fight because both guys really, really want it bad, and want to make a big statement. It's going to be a lot of trash talking with the build-up. So this is one of those kind of fights that the fans will actually win.
However, David Benavidez said that he'll definitely punish Morrell, as he said he will enter the ring with his game plan, but also expressed that he can't predict how the fight will end up.
You will get to him. Do you think you get him in the first half of the fight, or you think that you want to punish him and kind of teach him a lesson?
Oh, I'm definitely going to punish him, but as for when it's going to end, I don't think like that. I'm thinking of I'm just going in there and I'm gonna do my game plan.
David Benavidez is turning heads in his training camp ahead of his highly anticipated fight with David Morrell. The former two-time super middleweight champion has been showcasing his frightening combination of power and speed, leaving fans and experts alike in awe. His training videos highlight explosive punches and lightning-fast footwork, proving he's more than ready for the challenge ahead. Benavidez's ability to maintain such speed while delivering devastating power makes him an extremely dangerous opponent, and it's clear that he's coming into this fight in top form. As the fight with Morrell draws closer, Benavidez continues to intensify his preparations, demonstrating both his physical and mental readiness. The rivalry between the two fighters has been building, with Benavidez looking to make a statement in the ring. With his relentless training, it's evident that he's determined to prove he's one of the best in the division, and fans are eagerly awaiting what promises to be a thrilling showdown. Tim Bradley believes David Morrell still needs more experience, noting that he wasn't impressed with Morrell's last performance. He feels Benavidez has the advantage, as he's not just a pressure fighter, but also capable of boxing and moving when necessary. Bradley thinks Morrell will struggle against Benavidez's versatility, as the former champion can do a bit of everything in the ring, making him a tough opponent for Morrell.
I still think Morrell still needs a little bit more seasoning, to be honest with you. I wasn't too fond of his last fight.
Part of why
I really
I'm
was.
Benavidez. Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't too fond. Benavidez can do a little bit of everything. We only see him as being a pressure type of assassin type of guy, throwing quick combinations and really, just stepping on the gas and squashing guys. But, he can move and box if he wants to as well. He can. I've seen him, so he has that degree. So he can do a little bit of everything in there, which makes me believe that, Morrell's gonna struggle against that.
Jesus Ramos recently shared his thoughts on the potential matchup between David Benavidez and David Morrell, acknowledging both fighters' impressive skills. Ramos praised Morrell for his talent and amateur experience, but he believes Morrell still lacks the professional experience that Benavidez brings to the table. He pointed out that Benavidez has already faced tough opponents like Andre Dirrell and Caleb Plant, gaining invaluable experience in the process. Ramos feels that while Morrell is extremely skilled, his lack of experience in longer, tougher fights might hurt him, especially if he faces frustration as he did in his last bout.
Yeah, no, man. All connections aside, all friendships aside, I like both guys. I like both guys' styles. I think they're both very exciting. I've learned a lot from Morrell. He's a southpaw himself, and I've learned a couple things from him watching the fight. But I just feel like he's lacking the experience, that Benavidez already has. He fought Andrade, he fought Caleb Plant. Those are tough guys, man, and he beat them. And Morrell, he's extremely talented. He's got a lot of amateur experience, but I still feel like, I think he kind of showed it in that last fight where he needs that pro experience. He needs a tricky, cagey guy to take him some rounds, because he got a little frustrated there, in that last fight. So I still feel like he lacks that experience.
Ramos gave the edge to Benavidez, stating that his experience and ability to handle tough rounds would likely be the deciding factor. He sees Morrell coming out strong early in the fight, but ultimately believes Benavidez's experience will help him take control in the later rounds, edging out a victory as the fight progresses.
And I feel like Benavidez has been there and he has done that. So I think that I give the edge to Benavidez in that aspect. And I feel like Morrell might come out strong, but I see Benavidez edging that out in the later rounds.
Stephen Edwards praised David Morrell's strength and size, noting that he's impressed with the Cuban fighter. However, he pointed out that Morrell's size advantage at 168 pounds has allowed him to dominate smaller opponents, which has prevented him from fully showcasing his boxing IQ and other skills. Edwards believes Morrell hasn't been tested enough to demonstrate his full range of abilities, particularly in terms of strategy and adaptability.
I'm very impressed with David Morrell, but he kind of relies on his forcefulness, his strength, his size. I mean, he's way too big to be fighting 68 pounds. I've been around. He's a big guy, you know, so I'm very, very impressed with him. But a lot of the guys he's been fighting are so much smaller than he is where he doesn't have to go into his bag of tricks and rely on other things like his IQ and things like that. And I'm not saying he doesn't have it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Elijah Vines expressed his belief that David Benavidez will dominate the upcoming fight against David Morrell, despite liking both fighters' styles and personalities. Vines, who resonates with Benavidez's boxer-puncher style, feels that Benavidez's experience and skill set will be too much for Morrell to handle. While acknowledging Morrell's talent, he is confident that Benavidez will execute his game plan effectively, using his strength and abilities to control the fight and ultimately come out on top.
Benavidez I don't know, I always liked Benavidez. Always liked him. So I feel like that's because you're a boxer puncher. You love boxer punches. Absolutely, but I don't know. I can resonate with him. Like I like his style. You know, I like his personality. You know what I mean? I feel like that's going to be a good fight. But I feel like Benavidez is going to dominate.
Dominate?
Dominate, yeah. Some people might call me crazy because I had this conversation, but I don't know. I see a lot of stuff. I see a lot of things that Benavidez is going to be able to execute with a fighter like that.
Elijah Vines shared that he doesn't believe David Benavidez will stop David Morrell in their upcoming fight, but he expects Benavidez to dominate the majority of the rounds. While acknowledging that Morrell might have some success in certain moments, Vines feels that Benavidez's overall strength and skill will shine through. Ultimately, he predicts the fight will go the distance, with Benavidez securing a unanimous decision victory.
I don't think he's going to stop him. I think he's going to dominate majority of the rounds. Not all the rounds, but I feel like he's going to dominate. But it's going to be by unanimous decision.
Chris Algieri, a former world champion, is giving the edge to Benavidez. He said, "I think at 175, I would favor Benavidez. At 168, I may favor Morrell. He is fantastic. Regardless, this fight, whatever weight class that it happens at, it's a very tough fight. It's a very close fight. I'm very happy it's on the docket. I can't wait until we get there because you never know in this sport. It's an exciting time that we've got these young guys fighting each other." Caleb Plant shared his thoughts on the upcoming fight between David Benavidez and David Morrell, noting that the fight is a big one due to their contrasting styles. Plant pointed out that Benavidez is very aggressive and puts his punches together well, while Morrell, though also skilled, is a bit more crafty and passive in his approach. Plant acknowledged that both fighters bring something unique to the table, making it an exciting matchup. He emphasized that this fight has a lot of potential, and he's looking forward to seeing how it unfolds.
You know, their styles are different. Southpaw, right-handed, you know, one puts their punches together very well. And so does David Morrell, but he's a little more crafty. Well, he's a little more maybe passive in his approach. You know, I'll say that. And but that's a big fight, you know, that's one I'm excited for. So.
Lonnie B. shared his thoughts on the upcoming fight between David Benavidez and David Morrell, acknowledging that it's going to be a tough challenge for Benavidez. He praised Morrell for his skills, describing him as a big, slick fighter with a dangerous Cuban style. According to Lonnie B., Morrell's ability to punch and move with excellent footwork makes him a tricky opponent, even for someone as imposing as Benavidez. He noted that Morrell's style, which is both offensive and elusive, will present real challenges for Benavidez, especially given Morrell's ability to avoid punishment while landing clean shots.
Tough fight. David Morrell is really good. He's really, really good. Yeah, he's good. I can't even. He's good. You know?
You're kind of giving me a face like you don't know who wins that fight.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh.
Because David Morrell is big too. He's big for super middleweight too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's big. He can punch. He's slick. Real got that Cuban style. What he Cuban?
Yeah.
Like real slick.
But offensive with it.
Offensive with it. And those styles are tough for anybody to fight. for anybody to fight.
Even the Mexican monster?
Even the
David
Mexican monster.
Lonnie B also pointed out the difference in fighting styles between the two. While Benavidez uses his size and strength to wear down opponents, he isn't as slick or elusive as Morrell. Lonnie B emphasized that Benavidez's ability to walk his opponents down might not be as effective against Morrell, who has the skills to counterpunch and move around the ring. This, combined with Morrell's power, makes it a dangerous fight for Benavidez. Lastly, Lonnie described the matchup as a 50-50 fight in his opinion.
Especially with David, with that style he got, David's really not slick. He just uses his size to wear guys down. He walk him down and he's so big, you hitting him, but you really can't get him good because he's too big. You know what I'm saying? With David Morrell, he would really have to worry about some heat coming back being thrown at him, and David Morrell got real good feet. He got real good feet, so I think that would give David some trouble, and he can punch.
So would you favor David or Canelo in that sense? Oh, and I mean David as in Benavidez? No.
It's a 50-50 fight. David Morrell and David Benavidez is a 50-50 fight, in my opinion.
Jesse Hart pointed out several weaknesses in David Morrell's last fight, particularly his tendency to slow down after the 9th round. Hart noted that Morrell can be vulnerable to being clipped if an opponent lands at the right moment. He also mentioned concerns about Morrell's habits outside the ring and whether they could catch up to him. Hart is watching closely to see if Morrell has improved since that fight, and believes Benavidez could exploit these weaknesses in their upcoming bout.
Dave Morrell, I'm looking, has he grown? Can we get him? That last fight, I seen a lot of weaknesses in him, a lot of weaknesses. I'm looking at have he grown from that fight that he went 12 rounds for the first time in his ever career. You know what I mean? Around the 9th, I seen he start slowing down. I seen you can touch him on his chin. You can clip him if you get him at the right time. He slows down around about the 9th round. And David Benavidez, his living habits outside the ring, did that catch up to him? I'm watching for all that. And I'll be looking February 1st to see if my predictions is right.
Demetrius Andrade shared his perspective on David Morrell, noting that he hasn't watched enough of his fights to fully evaluate his abilities. He acknowledged Morrell's size and decent speed, but pointed out that he can be a bit wild with his punches, which he believes will improve as he gains more experience. Andrade emphasized that Morrell needs to tighten up his technique to become more effective at the elite level.
It's tough because I haven't really watched David Morrell fight by fight. I don't, to really see what he has. I seen maybe like 1 or 2 of his fights. I was like, okay, he's a big kid. He got some decent speed, but he's a little wild with his punches. You know, that comes with experience, of course, when he'll start tightening it up. Is he tight right now to be able, because David does have a good...
Andrade also highlighted David Benavidez's significant advantage in reach, which makes him difficult to hit, especially for fighters like Morrell who throw wide punches. Benavidez's long arms allow him to block incoming attacks effectively, which would likely frustrate Morrell. Andrade believes that Morrell will need to be much more precise and set up clean, accurate shots to break through Benavidez's defense and succeed in the fight.
His arms are long. Listen, his arms are long to me. You know what I'm saying? Morrell's bigger than me, so he might have long. But when you're throwing punches at him, his arms are so long, it's so tough to hit him, especially if you're coming off wide. You got to really pinpoint the shots with David. I don't know if Morrell has that in him. And I'm a sharpshooter. And David was able to, with his length, be able to, block a lot of the shots I was throwing as well, too. So, I mean, you really got to set him up with some clean walk-in trap shots.
So, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.